channels, enzymes, and carrier molecules. And I gave you just a little bit of insight of all these, and then we started with the receptors, that there are 4 different types of receptors depending upon the molecular occupation, their linkage, their chemical structure. They are divided into 4 classes. Those classes were mentioned to you yesterday, and all the drug receptor interaction, it is rapid in their action. Some are having a delayed or very prolonged action, maybe hours or days, and many other they are in the intermediate time scales. Yesterday I projected that diagram as well, and then I discussed with you the G protein coupling and everything, that whatever happens in that and what are the different G proteins. Now whenever a drug binds to the receptor, it is going to produce the effect if it is an agonist drug, and if it's an antagonist drug, it is simply going block the receptors so that the agonist is not allowed to produce the effect. For a drug to be agonist should have 2 properties. If it is right now in front of you, one is affinity and other is the intrinsic activity. So according to the drug receptor interaction, we have found out that the drug has got these following expressions. There is partial agonist, third is antagonist, and fourth is inverse. There, one of these effect will be shown. Now, receptor number does not remain constant. When a drug is being constantly exposed to the agonist, the receptor number, it decreases. We call it as down regulation of the receptor. And whenever it is continuously being exposed to the antagonist, the receptor number increases, and that is known as upregulation of the receptors. There are various phenomena which happen due to this down regulation and upregulation of the receptors. A binding of the drug to the receptor may be reversible or irreversible. That means sometimes it again depends on the binding forces. If the binding of the drug with the receptor is like binding force is like hydrogen bond, it is weak, van der Waals forces, then that binding is reversible. But if there is a covalent bond, then that bond is irreversible. So likewise, we have we can say that there are bondings are like binding could be reversible, binding could be irreversible. So same thing happens in the case of enzymes as well. We have studied that the second important control system is the enzyme, and in case of enzyme is having grins. It is analog to the natural substrate, which is supposed to get attached to the active site of the enzyme. But drug, because of its resemblance with that natural substrate, it is going to take the place of that substrate and will not let it occupy the active site. And in that way, the action further will not continue, and it will produce its own effects. If you remember the other day, I told many drugs which are being now found out to treat various diseases. And this binding of the drug to the receptor, if you remember in case of biotransformation, I gave you the example that there are drugs, one was angiotensin converting enzyme inhibitor, that was enalapril, and then dopa decarboxylase inhibitor, that was levodopa. Then we studied carbidopa. Then we studied that this binding is reversible, just like receptors. Binding is reversible or binding is irreversible. अब irreversible binding की क्या examples है? हम उस दिन मेरा ख्याल है मैंने आप लोगों को शायद बताया भी था, मगर जब हम और आगे पढ़ेंगे तो you would be able to understand it in a better way. that there is a very commonly used drug, aspirin, acetyl salicylic acid. It's a cyclooxygenase inhibitor, and it is an irreversible cyclooxygenase inhibitor, and it produces the effects of analgesia, antipyresis, anti-inflammatory, and it has got one additional effect, and that is anti-platelet effect. It affects on the cyclooxygenase of the platelets, and as the platelets, once that cyclooxygenase is inhibited, platelets does not have any mechanism to resynthesize or regenerate that enzyme, and so that family of these exposed form aggregates, because the thromboxane A2, which is responsible for platelet aggregation, will not be produced. So this is one of the example of the irreversible action of the enzymes. And then in case of organophosphate compound poisoning, there the poisoning may acetylcholine esterase enzyme is being irreversibly blocked by one of the organophosphate compound, and only it's going to take very long time, which is not compatible with life, because it will only be once that particular drug, that phosphate group is removed, only then the enzyme will be able to regenerate. So these were the few examples of reversible and irreversible binding of the drug with the enzyme. Now, taking up these, I mentioned you yesterday that agonist is the drug which is got both affinity as well as intrinsic activity, and they are able to activate the receptor, and the result is the maximal response. Partial agonists, they are, despite of the fact that they are activating the receptors, but they are unable to give the response which is maximal. That is, they produce a sub-maximal response. Antagonist is the drug which and then do not let the other agonist to bind to it. Inverse agonist is again another thing which is seen, that it reduces the activity of the receptors by inhibiting their constitutive activity. That is, a drug which is labeled as an inverse agonist, once it binds to the receptor, it is going to produce the effects which are opposite to the agonist effect. Very common example is that benzodiazepine is a large group of drug. They are sedatives and hypnotics. They produce relaxation, they induce sleep, anxiety, and they are used in the treatment of convulsions. There is a drug, there is a substance with the name of beta carboline. Now, beta carboline, once gets attached to the benzodiazepine receptor, is going to produce the effects which are opposite to the benzodiazepine. That is, it will not produce muscle relaxation, it will not be causing anxiolysis, will not be inducing sleep, and is not helpful in the treatment of convulsions. So that means this beta carboline is an inverse agonist. So now, inverse agonist actually is something that some of the receptors in the body, it was found that they have an activity without the binding of a substance, because till now that whenever a ligand or a substance bind to the receptor, only then we see the effect. But there are certain receptors in the body, mostly they belong to the G protein coupled family, and let me see, yes, mostly belong to the G protein coupled family. Benzodiazepine के जो receptors हैं, cannabinoids के हैं, serotonin के हैं, and many other mediators. And on the top of it, some because of mutation, some of the receptors they change. or sometimes they are being made intentionally for the purposes of research. But it has been noted that most of the receptors which show this activity, they are G protein coupled, and they are the one which show an appreciable level of activity even when no ligand is present. And this activity which is present in the receptor without the binding of the ligand is known as constitutive activation. And the drug which has the ability to reduce this constitutive activity is known as inverse agonist. This is what is showing that it by abrogating the intrinsic activity of the free receptor. वो क्या activity है उसके अंदर, intrinsic activity मौजूद है, यानी उसको हम constitutive activation, basically उसके अंदर एक intrinsic activity बगैर किसी चीज़ की binding के भी मौजूद है. अब यहाँ पर बात ये आती है कि हम ये कहें कि जी inverse agonist भी effects opposite produce कर रहा है, और कंपैटिटिव एंटागोनिस्ट जो है वो भी एगोनिस्ट के ऑपोजिट काम कर रहा है. तो देयर आर सर्टेन सिमिलैरिटीज इन बिटवीन द टू, बट देयर आर डिफरेंसेस एज वेल. नाउ सिमिलैरिटीज क्या है? सिमिलैरिटीज हैं बोथ दे रिड्यूस द एक्टिविटी ऑफ द रिसेप्टर्स, एंड इन द प्रेजेंस ऑफ द फुल एगोनिस्ट both act to reduce the agonist potency. This, as far these 2 points are concerned, we say that they both share these properties. They reduce the activity, and once the full agonist is present, they are going to reduce the agonist potency. Then the differences क्या है? The competitive antagonist, जो आपका competitive antagonist होता है बेटा, वो कोई effect नहीं देता in the absence of agonist. इन agonist होगा तो ही competitive antagonist अपनी activity prove करेगा. Whereas inverse agonist जो है वो deactivate करता है receptors को that are constitutively active in the absence of agonist. It does not require the presence of agonist to produce its effect. In short, if we just see this graph, we can appreciate on one side it is a normal, or you can say a quiescent system जिसके अंदर कोई constitutively active system मौजूद नहीं है. Once we give the drug, on the left if you see it is a full agonist which is giving the maximum response. Then we have the partial agonist which is showing the response which is less than the full agonist, and in the end we have the antagonist which is given by a straight line on that isoelectric line के जहाँ पर zero के ऊपर it is just giving it is giving no response at all, या ये neutral है. अब अगर हम constitutives के बिल्कुल साथ जो देखें आप, you have the constitutively active system. Here the neutral agonist is in the middle, and the partial agonist and the full agonist, they are showing the activity, and in the case of inverse agonist, the activity is on the negative side. That is, it is below the activity of that neutral line. So this is why we say that the inverse agonists are the drugs with negative efficacy. Agonists are the drug with positive efficacy, and competitive antagonists are the drugs with zero efficacy. I hope this is clear from this graph. This is zero efficacy, neutral antagonist, positive efficacy, full agonist, and negative efficacy, full inverse agonist. यानी full या partial दोनों ही negative activity दिखा रहे हैं. It is the same thing which is being depicted in the form. This is probably from Lippincott. You have it in the book. It must be with you. You can very well see it, just to this make you understand a little bit more that this is the one which is going to show us the response which is negative, which is much reduced, which is much below. अब अगर इधर आप देखें तो ये inverse agonist produces a response below the baseline response measured in the absence of the drug. This is again the same thing. So I hope now you have understood that what the inverse agonist is and how does it differ from the competitive antagonist. The inverse agonist is a substance which reduces the constitutive activity of the receptor. The next question which usually comes in mind is that what is constitutive activity? So the reply should be that this is the appreciable amount of the activity which exists some receptors in the body without the binding of the ligand. So the drugs which have the ability to reduce this constitutive activation or activity are labeled as inverse agonist. Now the term comes of the spare receptors. Spare receptors, again, we have seen up till now we say that the maximal receptor, whatever the receptors are available, the agonist is going to bind to all of them and is going to show the effect. Full agonists, they have produced their response by binding to the almost all the maximum receptors which are available. But sometimes some agonists, they are capable of showing maximal response at very low receptor occupancy, even less than 1%. यानी 99% receptors जो हैं, they are being spared, they are being left just like that. And they are basically, it is said that probably it is because of the receptor occupancy जो हो रही है उसमें substantial reserve capacity आ गई, यानी वो जो हमारा एगोनिस्ट था उसने मिनिमम रिसेप्टर ऑक्यूपेंसी से रिस्पॉन्स दिखा दी, and the remaining receptors, they have this particular system has, or the receptor occupancy जो है has got a reserve in it. So such systems are said to possess spare receptors or a receptor reserve, where the EC50 is less than KD. Now EC50, it stands for effective concentration 50 and is less than KD. KD is the receptor occupancy. So normally the response goes hand in hand with the receptor occupancy. When we say हम एक चीज होती जब हमको डोज रिस्पॉन्स कर्व करेंगे तो ये आपको ज़्यादा बेहतर तरीके से समझ आएगा. अभी इसमें समझने की थोड़ी सी मुश्किल होगी कि हम जब भी कोई ड्रग देते हैं we see that it is producing the maximal response, right? And that we call it as this is the drug, this is the E max, V max, यानी कि इसने यहाँ पर maximum response दिया. अब 50% of the maximum response is measured and that is the EC50. This is the effective concentration which is able to produce 50% of the maximum effect. Whenever we have to compare the potencies of the drugs, so we do this EC50. Once the EC50 is less than the KD, then it means that is the dose which is producing the 50% maximum effect, 50% of the maximum effect. If it is less than the receptor occupancy, then we say that the system has got spare receptors. So it is not seen with all the drugs. It is seen with the drugs that produce or elicit smooth muscle contraction, but it is less common with other type of responses, like यानी सब मसल सब responses में सब जगह के जो receptors हैं ऐसा नहीं होता, लेकिन कुछ जगहों के ऊपर ये phenomena we can see. Most of the other places like secretion or smooth muscle relaxation or cardiac stimulation, where the effect is almost nearly proportional to receptor occupancy, यानी जितना receptor occupy होगा उतनी, लेकिन कुछ जगहों के ऊपर it is there that we with the very little receptor occupancy maximum effect is seen. It means कि यहाँ पर क्या है कि हमें पूल जो है वो ज़्यादा है, यानी number of receptors ज़्यादा हैं than the number which is needed to produce the full response. This is what is spare receptors. Now next we have to do the phenomena of antagonism. Antagonism, अभी पीछे हमने इसकी definition as an antagonist की है कि the drug which has the ability, which has got the affinity but does not possess the intrinsic activity. This is the drug which is going to bind to the receptor but will not be able to elicit a response, will not let the agonist to produce the response. So simple definition of antagonism could be that the effect of one drug is diminished or completely abolished in the presence of another drug. This is what is antagonism. Now, there are many different types of antagonisms which we study in our subject. One is chemical antagonism. Number two, pharmacokinetic antagonism. Number three is the antagonism by receptor block. And it is further of two types. One is reversible competitive antagonism, another is irreversible competitive antagonism. Then a non-competitive antagonism, and the last one is the physiological antagonism. Now the chemical antagonism. Chemical antagonism, here the substance is coming in direct, यानी दो जो चीजें हैं, they are coming in direct interaction. There is no receptor which is being involved in it. So in very common example of chemical antagonism is chelating agents. जब heavy metal toxicity होती है तो chelating agents दिए जाते हैं to treat that heavy metal toxicity. Like dimercaprol is used in case of arsenic poisoning, and desferrioxamine is used in case of iron poisoning. Then this particular mechanism is being utilized for neutralizing antibodies against protein mediators such as cytokines and growth factor. Pharmacokinetic antagonism. अब pharmacokinetic antagonism से मुराद ये है बेटा कि अभी हमने we have studied pharmacokinetics and we know that it comprises of the various processes, right? That is, if there is any drug which is interfering with the metabolism of the second drug, or is interfering with the absorption of the other drug, or is interfering with the clearance or excretion of the drug, we would say that this is the type of antagonism called as pharmacokinetic antagonism. For example, that we have a drug with the name of phenobarbital. So this is an enzyme inducer. It is going to induce the metabolism of warfarin. Warfarin sodium is an oral anticoagulant. And on the top of it, so once the warfarin sodium metabolism is induced, that means the excretion, that means the level of the warfarin which is required for the production of the effects will be reduced because of the enhanced metabolism. So this is a type of antagonism which is produced, which is interfering with one of the pharmacokinetic process. Some of the drugs, they have the ability to block or stop the absorption of the other drug. If you remember, I told you that जैसे tetracyclines हैं, अगर उनकी मौजूद उसके साथ अगर आपने calcium containing compound ले लिया, some antacid or some dairy compound being consumed, that is going to convert tetracycline into inabsorbable complexes. So this is pharmacokinetic antagonism. Or there is some drug which is increasing the excretion of the active substance. So that is again interfering with the process of excretion and is eliminating the drug. So this is, all these are labeled as pharmacokinetic antagonism. Then is antagonism by receptor block. One is reversible competitive and other is irreversible competitive. Now reversible competitive का मतलब competitive हम कब कहते हैं? When the two drugs they are competing for the same receptor. यानी हमने दो दवाइयां दी सिस्टम के अंदर and they are competing there for the same receptor site. And in that case the antagonism, और इसमें होता क्या है, ये आप पीछे पढ़ के आए हुए हैं कि जब भी it is basically the occupancy of the receptor. Previously, the system was having just the agonist, all the receptors which were available by the agonist. Now you have introduced an antagonist in the system, and then the agonist is asked to produce the effects. The no effects are there because there is the maximum receptors are being occupied by the antagonist, right? Now, if you increase the concentration of the agonist, then the agonist will prevail upon the antagonist and will be able to show the response. And we say this particular type of antagonism is surmountable. That is, we were able, this increased amount of the agonist was able to undo the antagonism. This is the reason why it is called as reversible competitive antagonism. Now, if you just see this picture which is right in front of you, you'll be able to appreciate it that the drug A is an agonist, and once it was alone in the system, it was showing the effect. And once the competitive antagonist came into the system, the graph shifted towards right. There is a parallel rightward shift of the curve which is seen with the drug A, and in the case with the drug B, it is the curve has gone towards the right side. Why it has gone to the right side and why it is parallel? Because both the drugs, they are for the same receptor site, and the agonist being increased in amount was able to displace the antagonist from certain places, and it was able to show the effect. The height of the curve is the same, but the amount of the drug which is required to show this effect, that is increased now. ठीक है? So this is what is we are able to. और जब हम कहते हैं कि जी ये इसका अमाउंट जो है वो बढ़ गया है, तो इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि ये दवाई जो थी हमें ज़्यादा मिकदार में देनी पड़ी टू प्रोड्यूस द सेम इफेक्ट, ऑल्दो इट वाज एबल टू गिव द इफेक्ट वंस इट वाज द सिस्टम वाज जस्ट हैविंग द एगोनिस्ट ड्रग. ठीक है. और पार्शियल एगोनिस्ट आपको शो कर रहा है यहाँ पर साइड पे कि दे मैक्सिमम इफेक्ट ऑफ द पार्शियल एगोनिस्ट, ये डी जो है दिस इज पार्शियल एगोनिस्ट, एंड इट इज शोइंग यू दैट द मैक्सिमल इफेक्ट इज मच लेस देन द रिस्पॉन्स ऑफ द फुल एगोनिस्ट. नाउ एज फार एज द नॉन competitive antagonist is concerned, once the non competitive antagonist comes into the picture, और इसको हम irreversible, sorry, I need to discuss first irreversible competitive antagonism आ गया. अब irreversible competitive antagonism में क्या है? Same thing, two drugs, they are approaching for the same receptor site, but one of the drug has got the जो antagonist है वो bind इस तरीके से किया है that it is being dissociated or is being removed very slowly. In other words, the binding of the drug to the receptor is a covalent binding, and it is not leaving the receptor no matter even if you increase the dose of the agonist, you will not be able to get the response. Rather, the response which will be there, it will be of low height. It won't be, it will not be a parallel rightward shift of the curve as we see in the case of reversible antagonism. So with the irreversible competitive antagonism, it is the curve is there, but that is of very low efficacy. It is showing, यानी उसकी जो height है वो बहुत थोड़ी होगी और वो parallel भी नहीं होगा उस agonists के. ठीक है. फिनॉक्सीबेंजामीन जो है अमूमन उसकी एग्जाम्पल किताबों में लिखी हुई होती है कि दिस इज टेकन एज irreversible competitive antagonism. Now non competitive antagonism से मुराद क्या है? non competitive antagonism से मुराद ये है बेटे that the drug has got the ability to block a point in the chain of events. और chain of events कौन से हैं? Which are required for certain specific drugs to produce their effect. For example, we have calcium channel blockers. ठीक है. अब calcium channel blockers जो है वो क्या करते हैं? They are going to prevent the influx of calcium. You know it very well कि calcium is required for the contraction. Now, if we are just blocking one point, which is one of the link in the chain of events, then that link is being removed. So the effect of it is going to interfere with the effect of the other drugs at the end, which were supposed to produce the smooth muscle contraction because of the presence of the calcium. So this is what is labeled as non-competitive antagonism. Physiological antagonism. Now physiological antagonism, the word is very clear. कुछ किताबें इसको फिजिकल भी लिख देती हैं, बट यूजुअली इट इज फिजियोलॉजिकल. फिजियोलॉजिकल एंटागोनिज्म से मुराद क्या है कि फंक्शनली एंटागोनाइज किया जा रहा है, कि एक अगर कंट्रैक्शन प्रोड्यूस कर रही है तो दूसरी हम कोई चीज देंगे जो रिलैक्सेशन प्रोड्यूस कर रही है, बट बोथ आर एक्टिंग ऑन द डिफरेंट सेट ऑफ रिसेप्टर्स. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, histamine produces, it acts on the gastric parietal cells and it produces the secretions of the it increases the gastric secretions, right? Whereas omeprazole, this is another group of drug which is going to block the secretion of the gastric acid. वो कौन से हैं? वो करेंगे सोडियम पोटाशियम को, प्रोटॉन पंप को करते हैं, ठीक है. और ये क्या है? ये कर रहे हैं आपके हिस्टामिन रिसेप्टर. दोनों फर्क रिसेप्टर्स हो गए, तो इसलिए दोनों के दोनों क्या कर रहे हैं एक दूसरे का? इट इज दैट इज ओमेप्राजोल इज प्रोड्यूसिंग फिजियोलॉजिकल एंटागोनिज्म. Likewise, histamine as such, whenever there is some anaphylactic reaction or some allergic reaction, and usi ke andar type 1 of allergic reaction is anaphylactic, that there is release of histamine. It produces what? It produces vasodilatation, fall in blood pressure, vasoconstriction, यानी bronchial constriction हो रही है और उसकी वजह से आपको it is difficult for you to breathe. On the other side, your vessels are being dilated and your blood pressure falls. Up to treat it, we say that give epinephrine. Now epinephrine is going to do what? It is going to reverse all this. It is going to produce vasoconstriction and will bring up the blood pressure up, and at the same time it will cause bronchodilation. So this is what is physiological antagonism. Beta blockers जो हैं वो bradycardia कर रहे हैं by acting on the beta adrenoceptors, right? Whereas atropine, which is an anti-muscarinic drug, it is going to increase the heart rate by acting on the parasympathetic stem of the autonomic nervous system. So this is what is physiological antagonism. Now here what I was talking to you about, the competitive and non-competitive reversible and competitive irreversible. अब ये पहले वाले में देखें, first of all agonist alone, and then we have agonist plus competitive antagonist. दूसरा जो ग्राफ, दूसरा कर्व जो आपको नजर आ रहा है, that is showing us agonist plus competitive antagonist. Now if you see that the graph or the curve is of the same height and it has shifted parallelly on the right side, and here the concentration of the drug which is required to produce this effect, यानी हमने agonist की मिकदार को बढ़ाया, and only then we were able to get this the parallel rightward shift. And this is because ये जो middle में चीज उन्होंने line बनाई हुई है, this is the effect of the antagonist, that we have to increase the drug to get the desired effects back. On the case of the agonist plus irreversible antagonist, वहां पर जब agonist alone था, the height of the curve was more, and once we have the added to the system an irreversible antagonist, we get the curve, but that curve is not parallel with the previous, not of the same height, it is of much lesser height with its own shape. So this is the effect of antagonist, that is the height has decreased and there is no parallel shift. So there is this curve comes downwards. समझ में आ गया यहाँ तक? अच्छा जी, अब आगे हम चलते हैं. जो बात आएगी वो है जनाब के डिफरेंट रिसेप्टर्स जो है, डिफरेंट चीज़ें जो है, ये जो सामने आपकी स्क्रीन पे इस वक्त आपको टर्म्स नज़र आ रही हैं, दीज आर द वेरियस टर्म्स विच वी विल बी यूजिंग थ्रू आउट आवर सब्जेक्ट. Desensitization, tachyphylaxis, टॉलरेंस, रिफ्रैक्टरीनेस, रेजिस्टेंस. अब सारी की सारी ये जो ऊपर लिखी हुई हैं, ऑल ऑफ देम दे डिस्क्राइब अ डिक्रीज इन द रिस्पॉन्स ऑफ द ड्रग. यानी कोई भी दवाई का जो इफेक्ट है ना, वो ये सारी की सारी बता रही हैं कि वो कम करता है. ठीक है, अब तमाम टर्म्स जो हैं वो एक्सप्लेन एक ही चीज को कर रही हैं. That is what that the effect of the drug, there is decrease in the effect of the drug. Now desensitization, once again the drug is going to produce its effect once the drug gets attached to the receptor, and if the receptor gets desensitized, यानी वो उस ड्रग की बाइंडिंग के बाद उसकी बाइंडिंग को परसीव नहीं कर रहा और इफेक्ट नहीं प्रोड्यूस कर रहा, तो वी विल से दैट दिस इज desensitization the receptor. So here it is going to be a gradual decrease in the effect of the drug. Now there are multiple reasons for it. Then tachyphylaxis. Now tachyphylaxis is sorry, tachyphylaxis is something which develops very rapidly. Desensitization and tachyphylaxis जो है ये दोनों की दोनों synonymous terms हैं, यानी interchangeable भी हो जाती हैं, और दोनों की दोनों जो है they cause reduction or diminution or decrease in the effect of the drug in a very short time. Once the drug, in case of tachyphylaxis, we define it is something like this, that it's a phenomena which is seen when drug is given repeatedly at short intervals. यानी दवाई को बार बार दिया गया, repeatedly, rapidly नहीं, repeatedly हमने दवाई repeatedly दी at short intervals. Every time the magnitude of response is decreased. यानी हर दफा हमने दी तो इफेक्ट जो था वो डिक्रीज होता गया. This is what is tachyphylaxis. Tolerance. Now tolerance is again a phenomenon which depicts the same thing, that it is the drug effects are reduced. अब ये जो tolerance में क्या है, tolerance में the if it takes longer time to show that effect. यानी आपने दवाई दी, अब उसकी gradually टॉलरेंस डेवलप होनी शुरू हो गई, और जो पहले हमारा जो इफेक्ट था, अगर वो एक गोली से ठीक हो रहा था, अब वही चीज़ जो है हमारे लिए 2 गोलियां रिक्वायर्ड हो रही हैं, तो ताकि हम उसको इफेक्ट को restore कर सके. So tolerance is something when the drug is losing its, when the effects of the drug are reduced over a long period of time, over prolonged exposure of the to the drug. Refractoriness. Refractoriness is something जैसे कि आप जैसे आप सारे रिफ्रैक्टरी हैं मेरी बात को, मैं कहती हूँ जवाब दो, आप बोलते ही नहीं है, चिकने गढ़े जो बन जाते हैं, दैट इज व्हाट इज रिफ्रैक्टरीनेस. आप लोगों ने पीछे फिजियोलॉजी में पढ़ा होगा कि ये चैनल जो है इस वक्त रिफ्रैक्टरी है, यानी चैनल इज नॉट रिस्पॉन्डिंग टू द ऑन कमिंग स्टिमुलाई. सो दिस इज व्हाट रिफ्रैक्टरीनेस हियर मींस, दैट समटाइम्स द रिसेप्टर्स दे आर not responding, they are refractory. And why that happens, again there are multiple reasons for that. Then resistance is the term which again signifies the same thing, that the drug which is being given is not producing its effect against that particular infection. Now resistance is the term which we use specifically in case of antimicrobials and in case of anti-cancer drugs. ये जो term है ये ज़्यादातर हम इधर इस्तेमाल करते हैं. Now, what are the different reasons? Now, this is what is tachyphylaxis. When a drug is administered repeatedly at short intervals, every time the effect of the drug decreases, because once we ask, अच्छा बेटा tachyphylaxis is define कर दो, तो बेटा जो है वो बेटा, मैं लड़कियों और लड़कों दोनों को ही बेटा कहती हूँ, तो वो बेटा जो है वो डिफाइन करता है कि जी मैडम जब दवाई रैपिडली दी तो थोड़ी दवाई रैपिडली दी. थोड़ी दवाई रैपिडली नहीं है बेटा, इट इज ड्रग की थोड़ी या ज्यादा होने की बात नहीं हो रही, या दवाई को रिपीट किया जा रहा है बार बार छोटे इंटरवल्स के ऊपर, क्योंकि मैंने बोला है कि दिस इज अ रैपिडली डेवलपिंग फिनोमेना, राइट. एंड वंस इफ यू इंक्रीज द डोज, you do not get the initial effect back. whereas tolerance will long time to develop. But once you increase the dose, you get the same initial 50 milligram of the tablet was able to do that, but later on, because of the development of tolerance, I required 100 milligrams, but I got the same initial effect back. But in case of tachyphylaxis, you do not get that effect back. ये टॉलरेंस है, ठीक है जी. It describes a more decrease in drug. May takes days or weeks to develop. On increasing the dose, you can get the initial effect back. It can be, अब टॉलरेंस 3 तरीकों से हो सकती है. फार्मेकोकाइनेटिक टॉलरेंस, फार्मेकोडायनामिक टॉलरेंस एंड क्रॉस टॉलरेंस. ये भी एक दफा यूएचएस ने सवाल पूछा था कि एक्सप्लेन द फॉलोइंग टर्म या डिफाइन फॉलोइंग विद द हेल्प ऑफ एग्जांपल्स. सो फार्मेकोकाइनेटिक टॉलरेंस, फार्मेकोडायनामिक टॉलरेंस एंड क्रॉस टॉलरेंस. अब इसके अंदर साथ घबराने की इसमें कोई बात नहीं. जैसे आपका प्राइम मिनिस्टर कहता है ना घबराना नहीं है, तो मैं ये वो वाला घबराना नहीं कह रही हूँ. मैं कहती हूँ घबराना है, क्योंकि घबराएंगे तो कुछ काम करेंगे, अगर घबराएंगे नहीं तो आप कुछ नहीं करेंगे. तो ध्यान से पढ़ेंगे और सुनेंगे तो ही काम बनेगा. बेटा फार्माकोलॉजी आसान मजमून नहीं है, खाला जी का बड़ा नहीं है कि ये आप कहेंगे कि सुबह किताब खुली थी कल इम्तिहान है, वो नो प्रॉब्लम, वी नो एवरीथिंग ऑल. शाम तक क्या दोपहर तक की हर चीज जो है सफा चाट भूली पड़ी होगी. तो इसलिए इसको बार बार पढ़ो तो ही शायद अल्लाह मियाँ मेहरबानी करे. तो फार्मेकोटॉलरेंस और फार्मेकोडायनामिक टॉलरेंस एंड क्रॉस टॉलरेंस. अब फार्मेकोकाइनेटिक टॉलरेंस का लफ्ज अब जब हम बोलते हैं तो आप ज़हन में रखें रिडक्शन इन द इफेक्ट व्हिच इज बीइंग प्रोड्यूस्ड बाय सम इंटरफेस विद द फार्मेकोकाइनेटिक प्रोसेसेस. यानी की वजह से मेटाबॉलिज्म इंक्रीज हुआ है या एब्जॉर्प्शन कम हो गई है, ठीक है. जो दवाई की कॉन्सेंट्रेशन जो हमें रिक्वायर्ड थी टू हैव इफेक्ट्स ऑन द टारगेट साइट, दैट इज रिड्यूस्ड. वंस इट इज रिड्यूस्ड देयर विल बी टॉलरेंस, ठीक है. दिस इज व्हाट इज फार्मेकोकाइनेटिक टॉलरेंस, दैट इज एनी इंटरफेरेंस विद द फार्मेकोकाइनेटिक प्रोसेसेस लाइक डिक्रीज्ड एब्जॉर्प्शन interfering with the metabolism that could lead to the tolerance, which is tolerance. Then pharmacodynamic tolerance. Pharmacodynamic चीज effect drug कैसे देगी? Once the drug has got the affinity for the receptor and is able to bring about the change. Now, if there is some change in the receptor, the affinity of the drug has changed for the receptor, then there is going to be again pharmacodynamic tolerance, ठीक है. क्रॉस टॉलरेंस का मतलब क्या है? This is usually seen in case of drugs which belong to the same chemical group, यानी सेम स्ट्रक्चरल जैसे रिजेम्बलेंस है, उनका केमिकली स्ट्रक्चर जो है वो एक है, तो वो क्रॉस टॉलरेंस शो कर सकती है. अगर हमने किसी एक ही दवाई के साथ तीनों को एक्सप्लेन करना हो तो वी कैन वेरी वेल एक्सप्लेन इट. We will be taking it up again. Cross tolerance can be explained even with the help of the antibiotics, जैसे आपकी cephalosporins और penicillins, and they share the same characteristics. Their structure, उनका जो ring है बीटा लैक्टम ring जो है वो almost closely matching cross tolerance. Now, what are the mechanisms which are involved इन डिक्रीज इन रिस्पॉन्स? ये वो डिक्रीज इन रिस्पॉन्स जो हमने थोड़ी देर पहले पढ़ी है कि ये क्यों होती है टॉलरेंस, क्यों होती है टैकीफिलैक्सिस, हो जाती है डिसेंसिटाइजेशन, क्यों होती है रिफ्रैक्टरीनेस. ये सारी की सारी चीजें जो हैं they are responsible, they are happening because of these following points. Number one is the change in receptors. Change in receptor से मुराद अभी 2 मिनट पहले मैंने जो बात बताई है कि ड्रग जो है रिसेप्टर को बाइंड करेगी, जब वो बाइंड करेगी तो अपने इफेक्ट्स को प्रोड्यूस करेगी, ठीक है. Now sometimes it happens that there is an intracellular protein. अब एक इंट्रासेल्यूलर प्रोटीन जो है वो ब्लॉक कर देती है. क्या चीज ब्लॉक कर देती है? एक्सेस ऑफ जी प्रोटीन्स टू द एक्टिवेटेड रिसेप्टर मॉलिक्यूल. जी प्रोटीन और एक्टिवेटेड रिसेप्टर मॉलिक्यूल का अगर लिंकेज ही नहीं बनेगा, वो लिंक ही ब्रेक हो जाएगा, तो रिसेप्टर की चेंज हो जाएगी ना एक्सप्रेशन, ठीक है. वेरी कॉमन एग्जांपल इज दैट बीटा अरेस्टिन इज इंट्रासेल्युलर, ये बाइंड करेगी विद व्हाट बीटा एड्रेनोसेप्टर्स के साथ। जब बीटा रिसेप्टर्स को बाइंड करेगी तो ये बीटा जो एगोनिस्ट्स हैं उनका इफेक्ट शो नहीं करेगी, वहां पर उनकी एक्सप्रेशन चेंज हो जाएगा, ठीक है। देन नेक्स्ट थिंग विच कैन हैपन इज दैट समटाइम्स because of the continuous activation of the receptor effector system, there could be depletion of some essential substrate which is required for the down. जैसे आप पढ़ेंगे ना एंजाइना, तो वहां पर आप पढ़ेंगे नाइट्रोग्लिसरीन जो है, आपके नाइट्रेट्स एंड नाइट्राइट्स हैं, दे रिक्वायर अ कोफैक्टर कॉल्ड थायोल. Thiol factor is depleted, there will be tolerance to the actions of the nitroglycerin. Then there is if there is some interference with the, अगर phosphorylation हो जाए receptors की तो भी receptor की जो response change हो जाएगी. Loss of receptor जो है आपने पढ़ा होगा पीछे के जब कंटिन्यूअसली रिसेप्टर को ऊपर ऑक्यूपाई हो रहा है तो रिसेप्टर देयर इज अ फिनोमेना व्हिच इज कॉल्ड एज इंटरनलाइजेशन ऑफ द रिसेप्टर. द रिसेप्टर जस्ट मूव्स इनसाइड, इट इज रिमूव्ड फ्रॉम द सरफेस एंड इट इज आफ्टर sometimes that it again comes back to the surface. So this is what is loss of receptors, and in some drugs this loss of receptor yani ye jo cyclical disappearance and appearance back on the membrane is required for the effective action of those particular drugs. Exhaustion of the mediators, that is the mediators. अब एग्जॉशन ऑफ मीडिएटर से क्या मुराद है? एग्जॉशन ऑफ मीडिएटर से मुराद ये है बेटा, सम ऑफ द ड्रग्स दे डू नॉट हैव एक्शन डायरेक्ट, जैसे कि आपकी इनडायरेक्टली एक्टिंग ड्रग्स हैं, दे हैव टू एक्ट थ्रू द एजेंसी ऑफ सम अदर सब्सटेंस और सम मीडिएटर व्हिच इज प्रेजेंट देयर. जैसे इनडायरेक्टली एक्टिंग आपकी कैटेकोलामीन्स हैं, एम्फेटामीन है. एम्फेटामीन जो है इट इज गोइंग टू एक्ट थ्रू द ऑलरेडी प्रेजेंट एमीन्स इन द. Once those amine store is exhausted, amphetamine not the release of those amines which are present in the nerve terminal. Then increased metabolic degradation of the drug. Once again, here comes into the picture that if there is some drug which is being utilized with a second drug, like जैसे अभी मैंने आपको एग्जांपल दी थी कि एक दवाई है वो हम ले रहे हैं और उसके साथ हमने एक और दवाई दे दी जो कि उसके मेटाबॉलिज्म को चेंज कर रही है. अब वो चेंज जो है कुड बी इंक्रीज्ड मेटाबॉलिक डिग्रेडेशन और कुड बी डिक्रीज्ड मेटाबॉलिक डिग्रेडेशन. सो वन एग्जांपल ऑफ इंक्रीज्ड है जैसे बारबिट्यूरेट्स है, ठीक है. सो वंस दे विल इंक्रीज दी, जब आप बार बार देंगे तो दे आर गोइंग टू लोअर द कॉन्सेंट्रेशन ऑफ द ड्रग्स बिकॉज ऑफ द इंक्रीज्ड मेटाबॉलिक डिग्रेडेशन. जैसे वॉरफ्रिन दे दी उसके साथ या फिनाइल ब्यूटाजोन है, तो ये जो बारबिट्यूरेट्स हैं दे उनके मेटाबॉलिज्म को एनहांस कर देंगे. अगेन द मैकेनिज्म ऑफ एंजाइम इंडक्शन, बिकॉज द वो भी एंजाइम्स जो हैं वो उनकी भी मेटाबॉलिज्म में रिक्वायर्ड है. सो इट इज गोइंग टू प्रोड्यूस इंक्रीज्ड एक्सक्रीशन ऑफ दैट particular drug from the body because of excessive metabolism. The drug will be changed. दूसरा मैंने बोला कि decreased metabolism. अब वो किस में है? Because नाइट्रोवेजोडाइलेटर्स जो है, अब नाइट्रोवेजोडाइलेटर्स जो हैं उन्होंने उनकी जो वेजोडाइलेटिंग प्रॉपर्टी है वो बिकॉज ऑफ द प्रोडक्शन ऑफ द एक्टिव फॉर्म ऑफ नाइट्रिक एसिड है, नाइट्रिक ऑक्साइड है. अब अगर नाइट्रिक ऑक्साइड ही नहीं बनेगा तो उनका काम नहीं होएगा ना. इसका मतलब है अगर उनका मेटाबॉलिज्म डिक्रीज हो गया तो दिस इज व्हाट इज गोइंग टू अगेन प्रोड्यूस टॉलरेंस. सो द रिस्पॉन्स विल बी डिक्रीज्ड. Physiological adaptation. Now physiological adaptation is very commonly seen as we start with the drug. It has got its some of the effects like जैसे हम कोई सेडेटिव लेना शुरू करते हैं या तो बॉडी का एक होम्योस्टैटिक यानी इंटरनल, वो बॉडी की इंटरनल जो मेलियो है उसको के लिए वर्क करता है. सो द थिंग्स few days you start feeling normal on those drugs जिस पे ऊपर पहले आप कह रहे थे कि you are having little bit dizziness and you feel nausea or you're little bit uncomfortable. Likewise if जैसे ये थायराइड डायूरेटिक्स है बेटा, थायराइड डायूरेटिक्स जब हम है तो वो बेसिकली ब्लड प्रेशर को कम करने के लिए किया जाता है. बट the body has got its own renin angiotensin mechanism which is continuously bringing the keeping the internal environment, keeping the homeostatic mechanisms at the stable level. So the ultimate, sometimes after taking the thiazide diuretic, the effect of that diuretic, it decreases. It is because of the physiological adaptation of the body system. Then is the active extrusion of the drug from the cells. ये हमने पीछे भी पढ़ा था, अगर आपको याद हो कि जब मैंने कहा कि there is efflux because the concentration of the drug is required in a specific amount to produce the specific desired effect. If that concentration is decreased, then again the response is decreased. So with this, I am going to beg your pardon and I am going to stop my lecture because tomorrow, inshallah, I will start with you the dose response curve. Thank you very much for the patience.